What's up, JEFusion fans? This is Philip and welcome back to another video. So, about a couple weeks ago, we already saw Rine transform into Kamen Rider Majade, and this coming Sunday, we are going to see Spanner transform into Kamen Rider Valverad. So, there's no spoiler there. I mean, it's already been, announced in advance, and it's not really a matter of if, but when. So yeah, they're already going to transform into their own writers. Well, Rina at least already started or already transformed in the movie, which is, by the way, part of the canon. So yeah, we're gonna see Spanner next. However, I'm actually going to talk about neither of them, but instead, I've actually let this one sit for a couple more weeks just so that, more people would have had the chance to watch those episodes. So I guess even if I say something like spoilerific, like probably most of you watching this video have seen those episodes already. So I'm going to talk about Kamen Rider Gotchard Daybreak. Yes, Gotchard Daybreak. Now, I have mentioned Gotchard Daybreak in some recent videos before this one, but now we want to talk about who Kamen Rider Fire Gotchard or Gotchard Daybreak really is. I did say Fire Gotchard, but it's Hotaro's new form. But apparently, this Gotchard Daybreak using the Gotcha Igniter also transforms into the Fire Gotchard Daybreak, where he simply grows a new cape. But, anyways, that aside, let's talk about Gotchard Daybreak and who he really is. So when I first mentioned Gotchard Daybreak a few videos ago, I did mention a couple of theories as to who this Gotchard Daybreak is. However, we do get an answer, and one of these theories has been proven correct. So with that said, I hope you guys have caught up with the latest Kamen Rider Gotchard episodes. I believe it's about 17 to 18. So correct me if I'm wrong because I don't remember things really well. But nonetheless, let's talk about Gotchard Daybreak. So we see Gotchard Daybreak in around episode 15, if I remember correctly. So when the new type of Malgam, so when Grion first appeared. So this new type of Malgam has been introduced, and Fire Gotchard Daybreak appears to tell Hotaro that in his current state, in his current power level, he won't be able to defeat this new Malgam, and something bad could happen if he doesn't make a decision soon enough. So, so he offers some help to Hotaro. Now, there are some things that I want to talk about. So before we continue on with the plot, so let's talk about Gotchard Daybreak for a minute. Now, sure, appearance-wise, he looks exactly like Gotchard with just like a different color scheme and fire motifs. And when he turns into Fire Gotchard Daybreak, so he just simply grows a cape. And as for his equipment, he can use basically weapons that Gotchard already has, like the Gotcha gun and the Storm Slasher, if I'm correct. So yeah, he can use that as well. So those are the weapons that we've seen him use, however. But what's interesting about Gotchard Daybreak is that he has access to all 108 Chemi cards, which surprised everyone. So because Hotaro is still in the process of, capturing all these 108 Chemis, but this Gotchard Daybreak already has those 108 Chemis. So where did he get those? So that's already one hint as to the identity of Gotchard Daybreak. So again, he's able to use equipment and weapons, that the regular Hotaro, aka Gotchard, uses, and has access to 108 chemis. Now, in addition, in order to transform into Fire Gotchard Daybreak, so he has this item called the Gacha Igniter. Now, this is where the plot thickens. So, he offers Hotaro this Gacha Igniter, but it would have been an easy power up, but Hotaro wanted to make his own igniter. Now, considering that, Hotaro has been learning about alchemy for some time, so he rejects basically the offer to become, or he rejects the offer of an easy power up because he wanted to make his own igniter. So with that, Gotchard Daybreak helps him by using the Time Lord Chemi and sending him to the past. Time Lord Chemi. This is another hint as to who Gotchard Daybreak is. So we'll talk about that later. So here, upon using the upon using the Time Lord Chemi, so Hotaro is sent back into the past where he meets his child self, even though for some reason Gotchard Daybreak explains that he shouldn't interact with his younger self, but it happened anyway. So it turns out, so we do see more of Hotaro's past here though. So it turns out that Hotaro has not only been friends with Hopper 1, as we've seen like in episode 12, I think. So while Hotaro was inside X-Rex's belly, and we see some of his memories. So we also see him playing with Steam Liner. For some reason, Steam Liner is just a toy train or a model train instead of, a big actual train, which is weird for some reason. And Hotaro apparently has been to the Ouroboros dimension. So, this weird dimension in the first episode, So he's been there apparently when he was a kid. So he talks to Hopper 1 and Steam Liner about a pair of goggles that he wanted from his father, but his dad says, nah, you're too young for this. So he drew a pair of goggles on the ground and out of thin air, or out of the ground rather. So the pair of the same goggles that he wanted appear. So it turns out that Hotaro apparently has been talented in alchemy since he was a child, but the following events will explain a lot more. So in this dimension, so apparently this was also the same time that Fugakudo, Rina's father, was branded as a traitor by the Alchemic Society and whatnot. So he did face off against Grion in this episode. And, upon seeing this, so young Hotaro helps. And impressed by his courage, so, Fuga offers young Hotaro some words of encouragement. However, in exchange for that, so he erases Hotaro's memories. So, by going back into the past, so Hotaro unlocks these memories. And, he wanted to make his own, he wanted those goggles actually, so from his younger self. And, upon seeing them, so, and Hotaro also helping his younger self, so he gives his older self the pair of goggles, which using Hotaro's own alchemic formulations, he's able to make his own version of the Gacha Igniter. So this gives him access to the Fire Gotchard power-up that we see right now. So he goes back to the present and talks to you know, to fire Gotchard, or Gotchard Daybreak rather. So, Gotchard Daybreak also reveals where, or when rather, he's come from. He's from the future. So using the Time Lord Kenny to go back into the past and, in hopes of changing things. So he tries to talk to Hotaro directly. Now, in the future, where or when, I guess, in the future where Gotchard Daybreak comes from, it seems that Grion has successfully, has succeeded in his plans and basically has, destroyed humanity. And he's like, Gotchard Daybreak is the only survivor, and he finds a pair of burnt goggles, which are the same pair that Hotaro, wanted from his dad as a kid, and presumably the same goggles that he created out of alchemy. So again, that is another hint as to who Gotchard Daybreak is. And when Gotchard Daybreak talks to Rinne, so if you notice, like right now, Hotaro and Rinne refer to each other by last name. However, Gotchard Daybreak calls Rinne by her first name. So, implying that, he knows Rinne to some extent. So, anyways, going back to the plot. So, yeah, Hotaro gets his own igniter, transforms into Fire Gotchard, and, defeats this new type of amalgam. So, this appears, or this looks like the end of Gotchard Daybreak's, involvement in the current plot of the show. However, he makes a very big reveal about himself by uttering one simple phrase, and that is "Sasuga ore," meaning, well, loosely translated as "well done" or "as expected." Me? So this confirms one of my theories. So Gotchard Daybreak is future Hotaro himself. Now, I did mention before the possibility of Fire Gotchard being Hotaro's dad, but, judging from the voice of Gotchard Daybreak, so he does sound a bit quite young, although he does sound a bit older than Hotaro, but definitely not old enough to be his dad kind of thing. So I would expect Hotaro's dad, if he were to appear in the show, I would expect that he'd be more around the same age as Rinne's dad. So again, more or less a few years, give or take, but not exactly the same age, but rather around the similar age. But anyways, so yeah, so we see that Gotchard Daybreak, or future Hotaro is there. However, we don't see, or we never see Gotchard Daybreak, de-transform and turn into Hotaro. So we really don't know how Hotaro looks like under the mask, or how future Hotaro, to be specific, looks like under the mask. So it's still a mystery though. However, apparently, when Hotaro gains his own Gacha Igniter and transforms into Fire Gotchard, apparently the future has changed. And this is proven, or this is actually shown by on Toei's official Gotchard website, that by becoming Fire Gotchard as a high school student, or like this current Hotaro that we're talking about, so the future that Gotchard Daybreak comes from is now gone. So it's changed. However, this doesn't, like, at least for me, this doesn't feel like we've seen the end of Gotchard Daybreak just yet. So why am I saying this? Because episode 2 is a bit important in this regard, because if you go back to episode 2, so there is a storybook that Nina has read, or her dad read to her as a child, talking about the alchemist of Daybreak. Considering that the Daybreak alchemist wears a red cape and, well, not exactly the same color, but Gotchard Daybreak wears a cape, you know. So this could mean that, again, whether Fire Gotchard or Gotchard Daybreak rather makes a return in some way or another, or we could see some elements of Gotchard Daybreak incorporated into what I would assume be the final form of Hotaro, because there's going to be a Rainbow Gotchard coming soon, based on like leaked scans. Uh, but again, like Gotchard Daybreak may return in a different form. So that's what I'm foreseeing. This may be just a theory, but again, this is how I see things going forward. But again, like the Daybreak aspect, I don't think we're finished with that just yet. So, yeah, what do you guys think? So now we know the true identity of Kamen Rider Gotchard Daybreak. So, what do you think about this video? Leave it down in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JEFusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you next time. Bye.